Life changes on a dime. Who knew that 10 years ago in October, I went to work one day, just a normal, ordinary day, and it would be 45 days before I got back home again. I was struck with a bad stomachache that eventually became, "Someone please take me to the emergency room," when I went to Ohio State. Turns out I was having an attack of acute necrotizing pancreatitis, and I would have died that night if I wasn't in the hospital. I went into respiratory arrest, I was admitted, and I spent almost a month in Ohio State, 15 days in the ICU. I was intubated. It was quite an ordeal, but it's not just an ordeal for me. I'd like Sally to say a few words of what happened to her. We don't have kids, so our church was our family.
Yeah, I'm just very grateful for our Bible study group at the time. Really helped me a lot because we don't have any family close by, and I was going back and forth every day. The women in our group at that time were making sure I was eating and getting enough sleep, and just coming and staying with me at the hospital, and just helped out in so many different ways, and so grateful for all of them to be in a group that we can share our life experiences and your day-to-day doings, and that I'm just so thankful for it.
I got through that initial attack and got out of the hospital, attempted to go back to work, but I never really quite got better. In 2015, I was in the hospital to have a feeding tube in, and I got hit with another attack. This caused an emergency surgery where they had to cut out half of my colon, and I lived with a colostomy bag for like 2.5 years. But then my wife got sick. She wound up in Riverside Hospital to have surgery. And I was mad at God. I felt I was being punished now. What did I do to deserve this? But more so, why her? And my prayer when I got through that another month in the hospital, ICU, and got back into a rehab center where I lived for almost 2 months, was, I give up. I'm not going through this again. All the physical therapy. My prayer was, take care of my wife. I've had enough. Without making any phone calls, the next day Steve Murphy and Keith Baumgardner showed up, basically to kick my butt, to tell me that God will heal me in His own time, but I had to do the work. I couldn't just lie there and wait for some miracle to happen. So I did the work. It's now 10 years later. We got through it all. There's life consequences to the injury, but I'm here. I'm able to talk about this. And I want to talk about small groups. If you're not in one, you should be. And after I got out of the hospital, I went back and I volunteered for a couple of years. Then the pandemic hit. I got away from it. I'm working at the zoo part-time. But the study we just now did called Rooted inspired me. I need to get back into service. Dave Welsh told me that, you serve where you can. So I'm glad to say I'm going back to Ohio State starting very soon to volunteer again. So I just want to emphasize the importance of being in a small group. You're going to need it someday, and we need you now, so please join a small group.